Hello. I'm going to do a little bit of a rant about some New York Times editorials that came out last week. And yeah, I'm getting to them late, but I've been dealing with small children for for the last couple of days, and I haven't really had a chance to hit the studio here. So yeah, these pieces were about how to save the craft beer industry and how to save the wine industry, respectively. I think they came out like a day apart, something like that. Both industries in trouble, also spirits industry. Yeah, so if you needed further reason to think that the New York Times editorial page and all the projects associated with it should just kind of be closed up and just shuttered and, its resources all given to things that are better for mankind, these editorials will absolutely support that opinion because I have not read such bullshit in a long time. All right, so what are these things doing? They basically both have the same kind of rhetorical structure to them. The beer one is called "Wacky Labels and Silly Names Are Killing Craft Beer," and the wine one is "What Can Be Done to Save the Ailing Wine Industry." I got some quotes pulled up here. So the structure is basically that there's not one weird trick, but a couple of weird tricks, a couple of basic things that producers in these industries can do to bring back customers. They've all been doing a couple of things wrong. It's their fault. They've been doing some stuff wrong, but they're little things. They just need to tweak them, and everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. In the case of the beer article, which is the sillier of the two, which is amazing considering how silly the wine one is. The beer article argues there's too many IPAs. There's just too many IPAs being made, and also, as the title indicates, the labels are they're getting a little bit too silly, a little too cartoony and ridiculous, and beer needs to get more serious to attract the customers back. The wine, one of the arguments in there is that wine is too serious. It's too snobby. It's too off-putting. Which is, I mean, wine has never been more snobby. Less snobby than it is right now. Honestly. Never. Like, you want a big old, let's just dismiss that right now. That's out. That's gone. You want a big old, mega purple California party wine, you can get that at all price points. You want a classically built, structured red or a really amazing Chardonnay made in a classical style. You can get that from anywhere at all price points. You want something with no sulfates and a crayon drawing on the label, you can absolutely get that too. Like people who work in the wine industry they're just not snobby. They are not. No, this is not an argument anymore. I'm not hearing it right now anymore. That's it. No. Anyway, so that's one of the arguments. It's too serious. We need to be less serious. We need to be less snobby and more open-minded and accepting of. Also, there's a point about consolidation of productions. I don't know what the thing is, but the main thing is. We need to lower prices. We need to get some exciting wines in at lower price points. And I don't know how I can explain to you just how off in outer space that suggestion is. I mean, let me actually read you the quote. Not in reality. I mean, this is... I thought this was dumb up until I got to this quote. Let me read you this, because there's so many different things going on here. Quote, "We need wines that are alive and exciting that retail for $20 to $30 and sell in restaurants for $10 to $15 a glass and $40 to $50 a bottle." So first thing is, those prices do not line up. A $20 to $30 wine at retail in a restaurant is probably going to be more like $60 to $100. It depends on the restaurant, depends on the wine, but that's a ballpark. Now, I'm guessing it's entirely possible that this writer is just so out of touch they didn't realize that. They thought. But I'm guessing more likely is an editor or maybe someone else just looked at that number and thought, there's no way that normal people are going to be spending $60 to $100 for a bottle of wine when they go out. That's not happening, and so they just kind of knocked it down, even though it doesn't make sense anymore. So we're going to be talking more about that in a second. But yeah, like even beyond that, you're looking for $20 to $30 at retail or $40 to $50 in restaurants. Those wines exist. There's tons of those wines. Give me 20 minutes. I will give you a case of those wines. Not even 20 minutes, like a couple of minutes. The problem is, and the reason why the industry is in trouble, is those wines are not selling. That is the whole freaking problem. And this piece is arguing that producers just need to make more wines like that are like the ones that already aren't selling. So this is malpractice. If people actually did this, like this would be, I consider this absolute malpractice. Like that is, you're telling people to do the thing that is already not working. Now, the question you have to ask is, why aren't those $20 to $30 wines at retail, $40, $50 wines at restaurants? Probably on shelves, those would be like $10, $15, again, depending on the wine. Why? Why are they not selling? Why are they not selling? And it's the same kind of, now, you get a hint of what is going on, what is really going on. And by the way, I mean, this author could have picked anything to scapegoat, right? I mean, more reasonable options would have been like, young people ain't drinking enough, and also 6% of the population on GLP-1 drugs. At least those are real things that are happening. But no, he went with these. So what is going on? Why is the industry actually in trouble? He gives you a hint as to what is actually happening in some comments about price points throughout this piece. I'm going to read you a couple of these quotes. Sales of the cheapest wines have declined the most, far more so than pricier bottles. This is happening more or less everywhere. And then buried in this thing, way, way deep down, just in a kind of offhand comment, he says, more expensive wines seem to have largely held their own. I'm going to repeat that. More expensive wines seem to have largely held their own. And this tracks with what I have seen, what I've heard, at least in wine and spirits. I'm guessing beer too. I don't know beer as well. If you know beer, comment down below. So the upper level, the premium and super premium stuff in wine, that is selling. It's not selling super duper well. It's not like trending upwards, but that is holding its own. That is doing just fine. What is pulling the industry down is budget to mid-tier value offerings. Those are the things that are not selling. And if you can so there is a place in this article early on where where the writer makes a distinction between different kinds of wine drinkers, right? And I thought immediately, he's going to be talking about different, levels of income, right? Because that seems reasonable. And no, he was talking about there's the nerds and then there's the non-nerds, and we need to be nice to the non-nerds. No. The problem, what is happening in wine and spirits, I'm guessing also beer, tell me if I'm right, but is exactly what is happening everywhere else in consumer discretionary, that whole segment. Wine, beverage in general likes to think of itself as special. And yeah, okay, the GLP-1 thing is real. The young people not drink enough thing, that's absolutely real. But the same thing is happening in beverages as is happening in all of consumer discretionary, which is what? That the expensive stuff is doing great, or at least doing fine, and stuff that is mid-level or budget is crashing. So, I mean, take a look at watches. Like, I'm a little bit of a watch nerd. This is Yamaha. I love this thing. if you are Audemars Piguet or Patek Philippe, you're doing pretty darn good. You've just taken a hit due to the tariffs. You're still doing pretty great, though. If you're Rolex, you're kind of being pulled down by Tudor a little bit, but you're still doing real good. Swatch Group. Swatch Group is holding on by its fingernails. It's being buoyed by upper-level offerings like Omega, upper end of the portfolio, and being pulled back down, dragged under by the lower end of the portfolio, the Tissot's and the Swatches and all of those guys. And if you were kind of below, if you were a brand and a business specifically focused on the lower end of things, it is a fight for every single sale. It is ugly down there right now. Cars, same thing. Ferrari just took a hit, just took a price correction due to the tariffs mainly, but doing great, doing spectacular. GM is doing fine, selling a lot of loaded pickups and SUVs. But remember, like they're selling new cars. That is their business. They sell new cars, and a lot of consumers cannot afford new cars. So what's going on over at CarMax, over in the new in the used car industry? CarMax is a dumpster fire right now. They are not even taking the repossessions they're supposed to be taking because they are already flooded and drowning with industry. They are going to implode sooner rather than later. And they can't just reduce prices because then that's a write down. And again, they're going to implode. So this goes on and on and on and on. You can pick like a category in consumer discretionary. This is basically the pattern that's happening. And it's the same thing in beverages. And by the way, spirits nerds who don't care about any of this, it's happening in spirits too. The stat I want you to wrap your head around, and I know it's been thrown around by everyone, but you really need to appreciate this. The stat you need to wrap your head around is that half of consumer spending right now, probably more than half right now, is being done by the top 10% of earners. Top 10%, the cutoff is going to be somewhere north of $200,000. Those people they are keeping the economy afloat right now. They are doing the consumer spending. And I'm guessing that 50% number, if you just focus on discretionary, it's going to be a lot higher than that. Basically, it's only the top earners that are spending money in discretionary right now. That is the problem. That is the problem we are running into. And if you ask why, that's the fact. If you ask why, then I need to speculate a little bit. I have a story to tell, and I think it's the right story. But and the story goes back to COVID and lockdown because we had a period of a little over a year where the government, the state, was aggressively supporting the working class, the regular workers and consumers, and don't blame the Biden and so forth for all of this. It started with Trump. It started with the CARES Act in March 2020. Like the first couple of stimulus checks, everyone was big mad about Donald Trump's name being on it. That started in 2020. Checks going out. And then all of this kind of culminated in my opinion, glorious, not even a month or two, where the incoming Biden administration, basically handed the keys to the economy off to Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders. Because I think to their credit, despite their shortcomings, let's just say that, despite the Biden team's shortcomings, I'll be nice, they realized they didn't actually have any policy ideas. They thought, let's give it to someone who does. So all due credit to them. And you got the American Rescue Act, which was more checks being sent out, but it was also support for unemployment, childcare, healthcare, loan repayment and deferrals, just all kinds of stuff, all kinds of little perks sent out there to regular people to, help prop them up during the course of, lockdown and the period immediately following. So this was like the one period in recent American history where the state actually stepped up to directly support working people. And working people, for a brief period of time, could actually breathe and actually spend a little bit of money. And they did. They went out and they bought stuff. And companies noticed that these people all had money and were spending money, and they started hiring people to cater to these people who newly had money. In fact, I think just by odds, it is extremely likely, I'm certain actually, that someone watching this video probably got a new job or started a new career circa 2021, because it was a good time for that. They might have gone out and bought a new Seiko or something. They might have gone out and bought a new car, but maybe not a new car, a new to them car, because they had a chance to do it. And yes, someone out there is going to complain about money supply and inflation and all that. Yes, the right wing is correct that all of this stimulus and stuff did create inflation, just not in the way that that is typically argued. It's not macro stuff. It's more and more evidence is coming out that what happened is big players in the economy just raised prices because they could. They noticed people had money, and so they said, we want that money, and they raised their prices. Greedflation is a thing, because there is no real market competition anymore to push down prices, and there's no protections against price gouging. That happened. But anyways, you had a brief period of time when more people could actually spend money into consumer discretionary, and it was a little bit of a golden age. So that has been carrying things forward for a while now. In the time since, all of those little perks, all of those little points of support have been pulled back. The last to go is probably going to be the subsidies for the ACA, which is what this whole shutdown thing is over, at least what the Democrats are saying. All of that money is trickled back up to the rich, because money trickles up; it does not trickle down. Now, what happens? Well, you might have gotten a new job or a new career in 2021 or 2020, 2022, somewhere around there. And now you've been laid off. Now you can't spend money on fun stuff anymore. Can't make your bills. And hey, that creates problems elsewhere in the economy. Other people get laid off. And now there's more people who cannot, spend on fun stuff, who can't make their payments. And more businesses go under and more jobs get lost, and you just end up with a doom spiral. But meanwhile, if you are deep in the top 10%, you see none of this. You are looking around and everything is fine. All of the restaurants that you like are consistently packed. Stock market's doing well. GP looks like it's up, although there's shenanigans there. I'm not qualified to talk about that, but everything, seems kind of okay. So they are the ones who are going out there and doing the discretionary spending. Now we shall see if an economy can operate, for how long it can operate with only 10%, actively spending money into stuff, but. We shall see. If you appreciate that, you come back to this article, and it's otherworldly. Let me just read you one more line, because I think it's the most amazing and completely out of touch line in this entire the wine editorial. He writes, and this is in the part where he's making the case for putting out more cheap wines that aren't selling. Catering only to wealthy people may build short-term profits, but it will kill the industry. I just can't. Like, the wealthy people are the people that can spend money. Like, they are the people who can buy wine. Some of them aren't buying wine, but they can. What if I'm not being charitable? Is it possible that you could, start up a new business selling wine to ordinary working people, or whatever, or adapt a business in that direction, whatever? Sure, maybe. Sure, you could do it. It's going to be a fight the whole way. It's going to be a rough couple of years. The path of least resistance, if you want to be successful in consumer discretionary right now, is catering to wealthy people. Slap some AI crap on there. Slap a token on whatever's going to get them excited. I don't know. I'm not a marketing person. But you could imagine, like, these are the people who have money to spend. These, if you want to survive, you have to move up market. And that is the reality in all these sectors, including the beverage industry. The other thing you can do, if that sounds absolutely god-awful, and it does, is hope for structural economic change. And yeah, that's not going to happen until there is deep political change. Because, yeah, if you haven't figured it out by now, Trump's not that guy. Absolutely not. But to be fair, I don't think Kamala Harris was that guy either. She got about 10 seconds into talking about price gouging before, the donors kind of. So yeah, she was that wasn't going to happen. So I'm not saying those two are the same. I'm saying neither one was that guy. And so the problem is not one of going to the general election and voting the other party into power. The problem is who is running in the general election. This is a problem with the primaries. So I made a video a long time ago. I will link it up down below, saying the way to support your local distillery is to primary everyone. And I'm going to stand by that video. This is not a general election kind of problem. This is a tributaries problem. Good policies need to be on the ballot. So that's to the extent that people are looking for one weird trick that's going to fix these industries, that's it. I mean, I know that doesn't sound useful to say, like, fix wealth inequality as a way to grow your distillery, your bourbon business, but that's it. That's what does it. That's the only thing that does it. Either that, or you can just struggle at the lower ends of things, or you can sell little gimmicks to the people who can afford it. That's what you got. So yeah, please stop reading the New York Times editorial page. It is a waste of your time, and you can do better. And just keep in mind what is really happening out there. This is what's happening. This is where we are. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Go make more $20 to $30 wines. Put them on the shelves. See what happens. Thanks for watching, and cheers.